Dharma, the religious practice for the age. Nāmera, of the holy name. Pracāra, propagation. Tathi, this. Lāgi, for. Pīta-varṇa, having a yellow color. Caitanya-avatāra, the incarnation of Lord Caitanya. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The religious practice for the age of Kali is to broadcast the glories of the holy name. Only for this purpose has the Lord in a yellow color descended as Lord Caitanya. Please repeat. The religious practice for the age of Kali is to broadcast the glories of the holy name. Only for this purpose has the Lord in a yellow color descended as Lord Caitanya. Purport. In this age of Kali, the practical system for religion for everyone is the chanting of the name of Godhead. This was introduced in this age by Lord Caitanya. Bhakti-yoga actually begins with this chanting of the holy name, as confirmed by Madhvācārya in his commentary on the Muṇḍaka Upaniṣad. He quotes this verse from the Nārāyaṇa-saṁhitā. Dvaparihyar janar Vishnu pancharatres tu kevalai. Kalo tu nama matrena pujyate bhagavan hari. In the Dwapara Yuga, people should worship Lord Vishnu only by the regulative principles of the Narada Pancharatra and other similar authorized books. In the age of Kali, however, people should simply chant the holy names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is specifically mentioned in many Upanishads, such as the Kali-yuge Upanishad, where it is said, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, iti sodasakam namnam, kali kalmasa nasanam, nata parot paratpaya, sarva vedeshu drishyate. After searching through all the Vedic literature, one cannot find a method of religion more sublime for this age than chanting of the Hare Krishna. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Gena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So I guess, what is it, once a week they have Chaitanya Charitamrita reading here? So we're progressing through this chapter 3, which, as we mentioned, the title is the external reasons for Lord Chaitanya's appearance. And chapter 4 will be the confidential reasons for the Lord's manifestation as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When it says the external reason, it doesn't mean that it's less important, like the external energy is less important than the internal energy. It simply means that the external means that it's with others in mind. He's thinking, how can I benefit others? And in chapter 4, it will be more described, how can I experience this love? Because Krishna wanted to experience the mood of Srimati Radharani. So he had these different motives for coming to this world. One was to propagate the yuga-dharma. There are 4 yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. And there's an incarnation for each of the yugas that propagates specific rites and performances of religious activities appropriate to that age. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Paritanaya sarunam, vinashaya taduskritam, dharma samstapanataya sambhavami yuge-yuge. Yuge-yuge means yuga after yuga, millennium after millennium. Dharma samstapanataya means that I come in every age and establish a religious principle appropriate for that age. Like, for example, in Satya Yuga, In such a yuga, this world, it's not even recognizable. It's completely lush and tranquil and peaceful. Everything's much bigger. It's kind of like the difference between winter and summer, only more expanded. So at that time, and people lived for, what was it, more than 100,000 years, 100,000 years. And so the religious principle for that age was to do Ashtanga yoga and meditate, because it took 10,000 years to bring your mind under control by sitting in the forest, gradually going from sitting down, asana, to pranayam, breathing. Then as you meditate on your breathing, your consciousness goes more internal to pratyahara, where the outside world doesn't bother you so much. Then dhyana, dharana, and samadhi. The mind can take the time and have the time, like during the age of Dhruva Maharaj. He went to Madhvācārya, and we know that he meditated and finally actually saw the Lord in his heart. And then when he opened his eyes, he saw him in front of him. So nobody can do that in this age. I've tried to find the most peaceful, quiet places, and it's not very easy. It's really not. It's very difficult. Wherever you go, there's a helicopter or a plane or somebody down the hill. Or like even if you're in mountains that are really quiet, somebody way off in the distance has a machine, and it like disturbs the environment. So it's impossible to do that. So Lord Caitanya is the advent. What's being described here is that he is advented to propagate something practical for this age. Before we go on, I want to explain, and everybody can take this pattern of literature and understand Chaitanya Charitamrita a lot better by understanding its structure. The way the book is written, Chaitanya Charitamrita, is there are 14 introductory verses. 14 verses to start the book. Then what the author, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, does is he takes each one of those verses and he expands on it. For example, the first verse offers respectful obeisances to the spiritual masters. And the first chapter is the spiritual masters. He explains what is a spiritual master. The second verse describes the second chapter describes some aspects of Lord Caitanya. There are 4 verses about Lord Caitanya, 3 verses about Lord Nityananda, 2 verses about Advaitacharya, and some verses about Gadadhar Pandit and Panchatattva. So in chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, he's taking each one of those verses and describing it. Or sometimes 2, like in chapter 4. He needs two verses in that chapter. So let's go back here to the beginning of chapter 3 so we can understand why this verse fits into that structure. These are just the first few texts of this chapter 3. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By the potency of the shelter of his lotus feet, even a fool can collect valuable jewels of conclusive truths from the minds of the revealed scriptures. All glories to Lord Caitanya, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaitacharya, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Caitanya. Now he describes what he did in the second chapter. I have given the purport of the 3rd verse. Now, O devotees, please listen to the meaning of the 4th verse with full attention. So this entire chapter 3 explains this verse. That verse is, may the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Sachi Devi, be transcendently situated in the innermost core of your heart. Resplendent with the radiance of molten gold, he has descended in this age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before. The most elevated mellow of devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. So, what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is doing in this chapter is explaining who that person is who advented, and he just gives a little hint of why he's so unique, No other incarnation has given. In other words, every single kali-yuga. Let's back up a minute. Because for those, how many have been here for a while and been following this chapter? Are there people that live here and do this regularly, or are we talking about all new people who are on pilgrimage? Anybody been here before and are following? Okay. So I'll have to explain it. In the beginning of the chapter, the way he introduces this unique, what no incarnation has ever offered before, is he explains that there are 4 yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. Those yugas, going through their entire cycle, is called the Divya Yuga. In one day of Brahma, there are 72 of those. 72 different yugas. So there's Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Kali, Satya, Treta, and it goes on 72 times. So there is an incarnation of the Lord in every one of those yugas, as we just said. Yuge, Sambhavami Yuge. But in other Kali-yugas, there's something different than this Kali-yuga. Otherwise, why would he say that there's no other incarnation has offered what he's offering? If there's an incarnation at every age, what's the difference? That's what's going to be explained in this chapter and in the next chapter especially. So, with that in mind, I want to recite a very common, well-known history from the Chaitanya Bhagavat. One of the things that I really like to do is go to a place where the Lord performed his pastimes, stay there and meditate on the pastimes that were performed in that place. I lived in Vrindavan here from 1978 to 1990. And in 1980, I had the chance to go on Charosikos Parikrama for the first time. During Kartik, the devotees go to all these places. And ISKCON didn't have a Parikrama at the time. So I went with the Madhvācārya Sampradaya people. There's a caste of people in Mathura called Chobais. And it's like they're so organized that they had tents for everybody in each place we stopped. And then they would bring tractors in the morning. Everybody would put their luggage in it. And they would have set up the tents, the second set of tents, in the next place of our destination. And you walk 8 or 10 kilometers to the next place. Mathura, Madhuvan, Talavan, Kumudavan, Bahulavan, Govardhan, Radhakund, every single day. And what happened was that every single night, they would put on a play, a Leela play, a very good troupe did this, of what happened in that place. What Leela happened where Krishna was, and what performance, either Radha and Krishna or Balaram killing Pralambasura or whatever it was. So being in the place, meditating on that energy that each place manifests, and hearing those Leelas is really sweet. So this year, when my wife and I were in Navadvip, I read Chaitanya Bhagavat, and I came across this pastime that I thought I knew pretty well. But when I read it, for the first time in a long time, it brought out different sweet aspects to this Leela. So I want to share it with you. I'm sure you're all familiar with it, but especially the next chapter after this one. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advented, for the first part of his life, nobody knew that the Lord had advented. They had some inkling. Advaitacharya, Haridas Thakur, thinking that he was going to appear. But even Nimai Pandit, a little boy in the village, they didn't say, oh, that's him. It was unknown. And then when he was in his adolescent years, like from 6 to 12, he just became super scholastic. He became a really good logician and grammarian. And he would even defeat the Pandits in Navadvip, which was known as a great place of learning at the time. So he became very proud, and he would act like he was, the scholar that could defeat anyone. And people would, even his friends, if they saw him coming near, they'd kind of like go another way, so he wouldn't get in an argument with them and try to defeat them. But then when his father died, Jagannath Misra, he had met Isvarapuri for some months prior. He had come to Navadvip and stayed at the home and shared some of his book with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when he went to Gaya to perform the Shraddha ceremony for Jagannath Misra, he met Isvarapuri there, took initiation into this chanting of Hare Krishna, and was a complete transformed person. When he came back to Navadvip, everybody saw that now he was devoted. He would cry and he would choke up and he would chant and dance. And he, along with Srivas Thakur, began having kirtans in the evenings. And the way that they did this, I'm not really sure what kind of architecture was in Bengal in 1500 to 1510. But they locked the doors so people couldn't come in. But they'd have kirtans so everybody outside could hear. And it really disturbed the neighborhood because people didn't really think chanting and dancing, especially for renunciates, was the proper activity. But they would do it every single night. So these two drunkards, everybody knows Jagai and Madai, this is about what they did during that time. When Srivasangam, they were having kirtan in Srivas's house, the doors were locked, the moon started to rise, the Ganges was very nearby. And Jagai and Madai stared near the Lord's house and listened to the Lord's kirtan as they remained awake throughout the night. Being intoxicated with wine, they fully danced as they listened to the sound of the kartals and the mridangas and kirtan. As they could hear everything from a distance, they could also listen, dance, and drink more and more wine. Whenever there was kirtan, the two would stay there. When they heard the kirtan, they would get up and dance. They were so overjoyed by drinking wine that they did not remember where they had been or where they were. When they saw the Lord, they said, "Oh, Nimai Pandit, you should sing the entire song of Mangala Chandi to Durga. You have expert singers we wish to see. We will bring and give you whatever you need." Seeing these miscreants, the Lord kept his distance. Others took another path and fled away. After wandering throughout the city one day, Nityananda went before the two. Jagai and Madai shouted, "Oh, who are you? Who are you?" The Lord Nitai replied, "I'm going to the Lord's house." Intoxicated by wine, they asked, "What is your name?" He replied, "My name is Avaduta." That means one who has no material attachments. Doesn't follow any etiquette. Intoxicated in the mood of a child, Lord Nityananda spoke to the drunkards as his pastime. He had already decided, I will deliver these two. That is why he came there that night. Hearing the name Avadut, Madai became angry. He picked up a clay pot and hit the Lord's head. The broken clay pot cut the Lord's head, and blood flowed from that wound. Yet Lord Nityananda simply remembered Govinda. Seeing the blood, Jagai felt compassion, grabbed the hand of his brother Madai when he prepared to strike the Lord again. "Oh, why'd you do that? You're very cruel. What will you gain by beating an outsider? He doesn't even live here. Leave Avaduta alone. Do not beat him again. What will you gain by beating this sannyasi?" Some other people quickly went and informed Lord Caitanya, who immediately came there with his associates. The entire body of Lord Nityananda was covered with blood. Yet Nityananda smiled as he stood there between the two. In the Purport, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati notes that when you get a cut on the head, because of the pressure, it bleeds profusely. It's not, sometimes you get a blood and there's a little cut and there's a little blood. If you get a cut in the head, there's usually pretty good flow. When the Lord saw the blood, he lost external consciousness out of anger and repeatedly called out, "Chakra, Chakra, Chakra!" The Sudarshan Chakra immediately appeared there and was seen by Jagai and Madai. All the Lord's devotees became bewildered, but Nityananda immediately appealed to the Lord and follows. "When Madai hit me, Jagai saved me. By providence, blood came out, yet I felt no pain. O Lord, give me these two in charity. You may be pacified, for I feel no pain." Hearing the words, "Jagai protected me," the Lord became happy and embraced Jagai. He said, "May Krishna bestow mercy upon you, protecting Nityananda. You have purchased me. Ask for any benediction you desire. May you attain pure devotional service from this day on." Hearing this benediction, awarded to Jagai, all the Vaishnavas chanted, "Jai, Jai, Hari, Hari." As soon as the Lord said, "May you attain pure devotional service," Jagai immediately lost consciousness due to ecstatic love. The Lord said, "Oh Jagai, get up and see me. I have indeed awarded you pure devotional service." Jagai saw Vishvambar having 4 arms, holding a conch, disc, club, and a lotus. Seeing this, Jagai melted and fell unconscious to the ground. Lord Caitanya then placed his foot on Jagai's chest. Receiving the treasure of the Lord's lotus feet, which are the life and soul of Lakshmi, Jagai held them tightly as if they were invaluable jewels. The fortunate Jagai shed tears as he held the Lord's feet. Such are the wonderful pastimes of Lord Gauranga. Jagai and Madai were like one soul with 2 bodies. Yet here was one pious and one sinful. When the Lord bestowed mercy on Jagai, the heart of Madai was immediately rectified. He quickly released Nityananda's cloth, fell flat, and held the Lord's lotus feet. "Oh Lord, we both committed sinful activities together. Why do you divide us while bestowing your mercy? Bestow your mercy on me so that I can chant your holy name. There is no one to deliver me other than you." The Lord said, however, "I do not foresee your deliverance, for you have drawn blood from the body of Lord Nityananda." Madai said, No, you cannot say this. Why are you forsaking your duty? Why did you award your lotus feet to the demons that pierced your body with arrows? Referring to Ram, how Ram gave benedictions to Ravana's army. The Lord replied, "Your offense is greater than theirs, because you have drawn blood from the body of Nityananda. The body of Nityananda is superior to mine. I emphatically tell you this truth." "O Lord, if you are telling me the truth, then tell me, how will I be delivered?" "You destroy all disease, for you are the crest jewel of all physicians. If you treat me, then I will be cured. O Lord of the universe, please do not deceive me. Now that you are known, how will you hide?" The Lord said, "You have committed a grave offense. Go, grab Lord Nityananda's lotus feet." Being ordered by the Lord, Madai then caught hold of the invaluable treasure of Nitai's lotus feet. By taking refuge of those lotus feet, one is never vanquished. Revati knows well the glories of those lotus feet. Vishvambar said, "Listen, Nityananda, now that he has fallen at your feet, it is proper for you to show him mercy. Since he has made you bleed, only you can forgive him, and he has now fallen at your feet." Nityananda replied, "O Lord, what can I say? You have the potency to bestow mercy, even through a tree. I declare emphatically that if I ever accumulated piety in any lifetime, I give it all to Madai." How can anybody have such an attitude? To give something to that person, it shows you the nature of a pure heart. And what to speak of Lord Nityananda. "He is relieved of all and any offenses committed against me. Do not bewilder him. Bestow your mercy on Madai." Vishvambar said, "If you have actually forgiven Madai, then embrace him and make his life successful." On the order of the Lord, Nityananda tightly embraced Madai, who as a result was freed from all material bondage. Nityananda entered the body of Madai, and Madai became filled with all energies. In this way, the two were delivered, and they began to offer prayers to the two Lord's lotus feet. The Lord said, "Do not commit further sins." And Jagai and Madai replied, "Never again." Now, what really caught me was the next chapter, so I'm going to switch ahead, because this one is like, kind of throws you for a loop. It's called Yamaraj's Sankirtan. So this is after some time. The chapter continued with Jagai and Madai becoming intimate associates of all the Lord and his associates and starting to perform kirtan and live in Navadvip. Gauranga's beautiful body was filled with ecstatic love as he sweetly danced. The demigods, headed by the four-headed Brahma and the five-headed Shiva, daily came and served Lord Caitanya. Without the Lord's order, no one could see him as they repeatedly offered. No one could see them as they repeatedly offered service to the Lord. They watched the Lord's pastimes throughout the day, and when the Lord went to bed, they would return home. After seeing the deliverance of the two Brahmin demons, they contemplated that pastimes as they joyfully departed. Such compassion is found in Lord Chaitanya's house that he delivered even such type of demons. Today the Lord has given us hope that we will also be certainly delivered. Just like them, we can take that same sentiment, that if the Lord could deliver somebody who was that sinful and directly offensive to him, then certainly us who are fallen, admitting so and taking shelter, there's hope. Today the Lord has given us hope that we will also be delivered. The demigods spoke amongst themselves in this way as they departed in great ecstasy. Yamaraj, the Lord of Death, would also regularly come to see the activities of Lord Caitanya. Lord Yamaraj asked Chitragupta. Yamaraj has, I think it's 12 different scribes. And these scribes are on the subtle plane in all the material universe. Yamaraj is the one who dictates. He's the judge. He has a system, obviously. He's not the only one person. He has these 12 scribes. And whatever sinful activities a jiva performs, there's specific karmas, binding, and activities of material nature under the control of Yamaraj and the three modes of material nature, which bind all creatures. So, Yamaraj, seeing this happen to these two demons, asked Chitragupta, how many sins did these two commit? And what was the remedy for those sins? Because in the Vedas, there are sinful activities and there's remedies. How to become freed from that reaction. Chitragupta replied, "Oh Yamaraj, listen, what is the use of such a futile endeavor? If 100,000 scribes continually recited for a month, they would not easily complete such a task. If you heard them with 100,000 ears, you would not hear a complete account of their sinful activities. Your servants constantly narrate the sins of these two, and the scribes are frustrated in their attempts to record them. Your servants would always talk about the sins of these two, and they would be chastised as a result. The servants would say, these two are committing so many sins. Our responsibility is to get them recorded. Why should you beat us? If you don't record them, we will be punished. That is why we maintain a mountain of records, for this is the evidence. We even shed tears for these two. How will they tolerate the reactions? Within a moment, Mahaprabhu has freed them from all reactions. Now, if we are ordered, we can immerse all these records in the Ganges." Yamaraj had never before seen such glorious deliverance of fallen souls. They were the ultimate. Yamaraj was by nature a Vaishnava and the personification of religious principles. He knows the confidential purports of Bhagavad Dharma. Is he one of the Mahajans? Yes. And who are the Mahajans? What does Mahajan mean? Why are those 12 specifically quoted or noted? What is the title of Mahajan mean? Great soul is one, but it's one who knows religious principles. That's the specific knowledge that these 12 imbibe. And under different circumstances, they've revealed that in their pastimes. Yamaraj, as soon as he heard these words of Chitragupta, forgot himself due to love of Krishna. He fell unconscious in his chariot and his body lost all signs of life. His associates, headed by Chitragupta, quickly grabbed hold of Yamaraj and began to cry. All the demigods who were traveling in their chariots and singing the glories of the Lord. Yamaraj's chariot wasn't moving, however, for its occupant was filled with lamentation. After seeing the deliverance of the two Brahmin demons, everyone was glorifying the nature of that pastimes. The demigods, headed by Lord Shiva, Brahma, Sesha, and Narada, were all glorifying the deliverance of these two. Some of them had never experienced such an ecstatic kirtan, and some cried after seeing such compassion. The demigods saw Yamaraj lying unconscious in his chariot, which had stopped, and they all stopped their chariots. Sesha, Brahma, Shiva, and the various sages headed by Narada saw that Yamaraj was lying there, unconscious in his chariot. They were all astonished because they did not know what had happened. Then Chitragupta explained to them what happened. Brahma and Shiva realized that he was absorbed in love of Krishna. So what did they do? They chanted in his ear. Hearing this kirtan, Yamaraj got up. He regained his consciousness and danced like an intoxicated person. As the ecstasy of the demigod's kirtan intensified, the son of Surya danced in ecstasy and love for Krishna. Who is the son of Surya? And who is his sister? Yamaraj is the son of Surya. And who is his sister? Yamuna. Seeing Yamaraj dance, all the other demigods began to dance. Brahma and Shiva also danced with personalities like Narada. Hear attentively about the dancing of the demigods. It is most confidential, but it will be revealed by the Vedas. So they had their big kirtan, and all in the ecstasy of realizing the heart of Lord Caitanya and Lord Nityananda. I was fortunate enough to join Krishna consciousness. I didn't know anything about Krishna until one day I was in a student union. I wasn't in college, but I would go to the student union because I was the same age as the students. And this person next to me was standing in the mirror, and he was going like this, putting some clay on his face. And I said, what are you, part of a play? Or is that war paint? Like the American Indians, they have war paint. And he said, no, we're actually traveling musicians. We're on a bus that we play Indian music. He said, we're all monks. Why don't you come out to the bus and join us? We'll have breakfast. Okay. I was hitchhiking around America, lost in life. So we went out, and the doors to the Greyhound bus opened, and I walked in, and there was 25 men with bald heads and these little seekers, all wearing orange, and this huge feast of food that I'd never even smelled anything like that in front of them. And this one, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, came up, and he gave me a ball about this big, and I had a beard and long hair and everything like this. He said, don't bite this. Eat it with one bite. But I was hesitant, so I bit it, and all the juice from the Glubsman went down my beard. Oh, no. So what happened was I stayed there and took prasadam, which was really good. So this bus was Vishnu John Swami and Tamal Krishna Maharaj. It was the Radha Damodar traveling Sankirtan party at that time. And what happened? What they would do was every day, Mangalartik, then chanting rounds, then Guru Puja, then Srimad Bhagavatam, usually by Tamal. Then we would take prasadam, and then we would go to colleges and set out a madras and take Radha Damodar. And that was a whole other thing when they opened the deities, because the deities were closed because everybody was take a prasadam when they started. So we would take Radha Damodar out onto the madras in front of all the people. And Vishnu John Swami, I don't know if any of you have heard his tapes. It was in the 70s. But if you get a chance, he was divine. And every day from 10 o'clock in the morning till about 4 or 5 in the afternoon, we would sing bhajans by Narottam Das Thakur, Lochan Das Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. We would sing the bhajan, and then Vishnu John would explain it to the students and people, while Tamal Krishna Maharaj and the different devotees who were good preachers, they would look around the crowd. So Vishnujan's singing, and they would see, who's tapping, who's there? And some people just walk by. So, but some people were into it, and then they'd kind of walk over and start talking to him. What do you show him Bhagavad Gita, and start preaching. So in this way, the preaching went on and on and on. And there's a beautiful, and then one year, when that Radha-Damodar party was visiting Atlanta, Srila Prabhupada was also coming to Atlanta. If you read in Shrutikirti's book, how Srila Prabhupada would travel around the world. And when he came to Atlanta, Hare Krishna, they had Gaunitai deities. So when Srila Prabhupada saw Lord Caitanya and Lord Nityananda, this mood of realizing their compassion on all these fallen souls, going from city to city to city, all these fallen malechas and yavanas, he became overwhelmed and actually couldn't speak. But the next day, he taught everyone how to sing this bhajan that we're going to sing now, called Parama Karuna by Lochandas Thakur. Then we'll read Prabhupada's purport. Sangha Thakur is going to lead us in this verse, so you please sing along. Bhaja Bhaja Bhai Chaitanya Nitya Sudita Vishvasa Kori Arvishaya Chariya Shirase Modiya Vishaya Chariya Shirase Modiya Vishajadiya Rase Majaya Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari Deko ero bhakti bhuvane Pashupaki jure Pashana vidare Pashupaki jure Pashana vidare Shuni jana gunagata Samsare majia roire poria separe nahilo asa Apana karama unjai samana Apana karama unjai samana Koi lochana dasa Parama karuna aunduidana nitai gaura chanda Sabhavatara sarasiromane Sabhavata sadasiromani Kevalananda kanda Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada So Srila Prabhupada's purport to this song will certainly explain how it's pertinent to our verse today, that no other incarnation has ever given what this incarnation has given. This is a song by Lochandas Thakur, a great devotee and acharya of the Gaudiya Sampradaya. He is declaring that Pahu Dvijana. Pahu Dvijana. Pahu means lords. Dvijana means two. Who are the two lords? Nitai Gaura Chandra. One is Lord Nitai, Nityananda, and the other is Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he says that these two lords are very merciful. Parama Karuna. Parama means most, and Karuna means merciful. Most merciful. There's no other adjective, there's no other way you can say more than that. They're the most merciful. Parama Karuna means very merciful. Nitai Gaura Chandra. Sabha Avatara Shara Shiromani. Avatar means incarnation, and Sabha means all. Sabha Avatar, of all the incarnations. They are the essence of all incarnations. Sabha Avatar, Shara Shiromani, Kevala Ananda Kanda. And the specific significance of these incarnations is that to prosecute their way of self-realization is simply joyful. Most people have to go through a lot of austerities and difficulties and tapasyas in other ages to attain self-realization. It's a difficult path to attain self-realization. Simply joyful. Kevala Ananda Kanda. And what does Sri Romani mean? A crest jewel. Thank you. Sara Sri Romani. The crest of all jewels. They introduced this chanting and dancing. No other incarnation. There are many incarnations, just like Ram. Even Krishna taught Bhagavad Gita, which requires knowledge and understanding. But here, Lord Caitanya, Nityananda introduced some process which is simply joyful. Simply chant and dance. Kevala Ananda Kanda. Sabha Avatar Sarasri Romani. Kevala Ananda Kanda. Kanda means path. The path that they're introducing. Walk down that path. Therefore, he requests everyone. Bhaja Bhaja Bhai. Bhai means brother. Bhaja Bhaja Bhai. Worship, oh brother, worship. Chaitanya Nitai. My dear brothers, I request you, just worship Lord Caitanya and Lord Nityananda. Sudrita Visvasa Kori. Second line. Sudrita Visvasa Kori. With firm conviction and faith. I love this part. Don't think that this chanting and dancing will not lead to the desired goal. It will. Don't think that this chanting and dancing won't lead to the desired goal. It will. Just chanting and dancing, taking prasadam, don't think that that won't lead to the goal. It will. You don't have to do anything else. That will lead you, that will take you to the goal. All the other things are like supplements to that. My dear, with firm conviction, it will. Don't think that this chanting and dancing will not lead to the desired goal. It will. Because there is assurance of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that you will get all perfection by this process. Therefore, Lochan Das Thakur says you must have firm faith and conviction. It will act. Bhajo Bhajabai Chaitanya Nitai Sudrita. Sudrita means firm. Visvasa Kori, with firm faith and conviction. But what is that process? The process is Vishaya Chadiya Serase Majya. The second part to the second verse. If you want to be Krishna conscious under this process, then you have to give up your engagement of sense gratification. That is the only restriction. You cannot do that. Then it will be very nice. If you give up sense gratification and come to this stage, then it is sure that you will reach the desired goal. Vishaya Chadiya Serasi Moji Mukhi Bolo Hari Hari. And you have to simply chant Hare Krishna, Hari Hari. That's all. Without any motive for sense gratification. Deke or Ebai, Tribhuvanenai. He says, my dear brothers, you just try to examine within the three worlds. Is there anybody like Lord Caitanya and Lord Nityananda Prabhu? Because Pasupaki Jure Pashana Vidare. Their mercy and qualities are so great that even birds and beasts are crying. What to speak of human beings? Actually, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed through the forest of Jarikanda, the tigers, the elephants, the snakes, and the deer all joined him in chanting Hare Krishna. It's so nice. Anyone can join. Animals can join. So what to speak of human beings? Of course, it is not possible for ordinary man to enthuse animals to chant. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did it, actually. So, if we cannot enthuse animals, we can enthuse at least the human beings on this path of Hare Krishna, Mahamantra, Pasupaki Jure, Pasana Vidare. And it's so nice that even the most stone-hearted men will be melted. Pasana Vidare. Pasana means stone, and Vidare. Pasana, even the stone will melt. It is so nice. But Lochan Das regrets. Vishaya Majya, being entrapped by sense gratification. Majya, Majya, Vishaya Majya, Rohila Bulia. He's addressing himself, my dear mind. You are entrapped in the sense gratification process, and you have no attraction for chanting Hare Krishna. Vishaya bulia rohile majya separe nailo ar. You have no attraction for the lotus feet of Chaitanya and Nityananda. So what can I say? It is only apana karama bhunjaya samana. I can simply think of my misfortune only, that Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, is punishing me in this way, that he's not allowing me to be attracted to this movement. This is the statement, Kohe Lochana Das. This is the statement of Lochan Das Thakur. So, our verse again today, text 40. The religious practice for this age of Kali is to broadcast the glories of the holy name. Only for this purpose has the Lord, in a yellow color, descended as Lord Caitanya. Any questions, comments, confusions? Yes, Prabhu.
So it is said in the song that Subhridha Vishvasa Kori, that we should have strong faith, strong determination. And my question is how to increase faith, how to develop faith. And also I have a doubt is that even animals like tigers and birds can cry by seeing mercy of God anytime. But how can we say that they have faith? They are innocent animals. They are ignorant, so they are still crying.
I'll answer that part of it first. Just like Lord Caitanya embraced Jagai and Madai. He embraced Jagai, Madai. He embraced Madai. Jagai got Lord Nityananda's mercy. And it was described in the text after that Yamaraj, when he asked his scribe, you read off their sinful activities. What did they do in their past lives? And he said, it's not possible to read it all. You can't hear it. It's not possible. Well, we're not on that level. That's Jagai and Madai. That's Jai and Vijay. That's super sinful. Super more sinful than any of us. So if he can clean up Jagai and Madai, what's the problem for us? And he's controller. He's the supreme controller. Isvaraha Paramaha Krishna. So he can do anything he wants. And he can cleanse anything he wants. So Prabhupada said it can take a second if the conditions are correct. If Krishna gives your mercy to anyone, then immediately. So that's that side of it, with the faith that the animals and anyone could become purified. It's just a body. It's just a covering of the soul. He can awaken it in a moment just by his touch, by his look, by his grace. And the other one was, how can we have that faith? Here in Krishna Balaram Mandir, which was established by Srila Prabhupada, think of how much time and focus Srila Prabhupada spent every single night when all his disciples and everybody in the world were sleeping. What did Srila Prabhupada do? He would wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and he would meditate on these things. He would study them. And then he would translate it into English and put it here for us. So this is kind of like a foundation for faith. What's in these? And then associating with those who know these books and are following them, that's like a recipe that will bring about more faith. And of course, following the process that Lochan Das Thakur says is simply joyful. I would say those different aspects all together. Don't think that this process won't work. It will. You have the assurance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Supreme Personality of Godhead. He said it. He gave the promise. Even Arjuna, he said, you do this. Manmara bhava madbhakto majajimam namaskaro mamavaishyasi satyam de pratijane priyosime. You come to me. I promise you this. You follow these process. It's God's promise. In this world, unfortunately, promises are constantly broken. We're not able to maintain our integrity, especially in this age. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not like that, like us. He's not contaminated in any way, shape, or form. So if he makes a promise and somebody follows it, he will follow through on his promise. Jai, thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, glories to Chaitanya Charitamrita. Haribol. Thank you.
I remember you in '87.
Oh, really?
I came three